What turned things around? Was it holing out at 3 and going from there? What?
Yeah, that definitely. I mean, actually, to be honest with you, I thought I hit it in the hazard on number 2. You know, just ran out of fairway, looked like it disappeared. Ended up finding the ball, being able to make par. So, you know, walking off the second hole, 6 over, actually 7 over because I bogeyed 1. It was like, oh, yeah, this is not the momentum start I was looking for. And then, yeah, exactly, you know, holding the shot at number 3, sort of kick-started things. Suddenly I was in the red for the day, plugging away. I knew the course was super tough. I knew I probably didn't need to do, you know, go super low to make the cut today, which was primary objective, was to make the cut. But, yeah, things really started flowing. I actually felt like I didn't play that well today. It didn't really hit my irons all that well. But I did everything today that I haven't been able to do the last few rounds. I just haven't been able to score. You know, the PGA Championship was super disappointing with a short game. Had no momentum every time I missed a green. Wasn't able to up and down. Wasn't taking advantage of the par 5s, those sorts of things. And today, it was just the opposite. You know, I kind of hung in there with some good chips, some good short game at the right time, made some good putts to keep momentum going. And that's exactly what you need. So, yeah, of course. I mean, there's no let up really with it. If you do hit a poor shot, you're severely out of position today. So delighted to have kind of got myself back into the, not just make the cut, but back into the golf tournament.
Is there any Masters hangover for you at all?
Not consciously. Great, you know, quite possibly. I think, you know, so definitely there is stuff to process there for sure. And I think obviously a lot of people want to keep talking to you about it. So it's hard to put it 100% behind you all the time. But I think I probably, you know, I had 2 weeks off after Hilton Head and felt like I did a little bit of work, but not a ton of work. And I felt like there was a little bit of slippage in that period of time. Yeah. So, you know, definitely felt like it took a week. Well, it's probably taking me a little bit of time just to really kind of find that, yeah, that form again, I suppose. You know, I think traveling back and forth from England, and I'm, you know, this year I've definitely tried to change the way I'm approaching my weeks off at home, but I do kind of feel like it's my weeks off that are the problem, not the playing, you know. So, yeah, it's definitely a balance.
What happened to Truist? You had to withdraw. Were you sick or did you hurt something?
Yeah, no, I was just sick there, kind of just the, you know, the man flu, I sniffle. But, yeah, no, I wasn't feeling great. I was already 7 over par, and I was conscious that the PGA was coming up the following week. I was just, you know, like flu, basically, just achy and not feeling great. So, yeah, but I think that knocked me a little bit. Yeah, PGA just was not out the gates. And then obviously I felt like yesterday I was 2 under par through 8 holes, and I felt like, okay, you know, really prepared well this week and coming into this week. So yesterday was a real kick in the ghoulies, as we say in England.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's you know, the back 9 yesterday, yeah, and the finish I had yesterday was kind of tough. But yeah, great to rebound today and see some red numbers.
How do you spell ghoulies?
You have to Google it. Google it.
Hey, Justin, is it hard for you to comprehend that you're still coming here to this venue 15 years after winning your first PGA Tour event at this place?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I felt like it took me a long time to win my first PGA Tour event. You know, I've been on tour over here since '03, so it definitely took me quite a bit of time to break through on this tour. So there was 7 years before breaking through, now 15 years since. So yeah, I mean, it's quite amazing when I think about it like that. But yeah, 15 years. I mean, you know, the image I have is my little son Leo was kind of messing around in a bunker behind 18. I mean, now you'd lose him in these bunkers, but back then you could still see him in the bunkers.
How much pride do you take in that? Just playing that long and being, you know,
Yeah, I think I'm getting to that stage in my career where that is the goal now, you know, sort of having pride of performance and trying to buck the trend of what, you know, is a natural kind of aging process. There are things that are more difficult or get more difficult, but yeah, you don't want to kind of believe it. And I still think my good is good, which is what I've seen this year. It's been inconsistent this year, but my good is good, and that's the most important thing to see. I'd rather that than top 20th every week. Just to know that if I do put things together, I'm capable of winning, you know, and I think that's still, I still believe that.
Longevity is underrated, frankly, consistency. Who inspires you? Longer doesn't count.
Yeah, he's crazy for sure. I think, you know, Steve Stricker, I think, is a really nice example. I think he won, is he like 9 times, maybe 9 times in his 40s? And I think he did it, you know, living in the Midwest, you know, locking things up for winter, having a great family, didn't sacrifice the world in order to do it. he's a really good, I think, role model from that point of view. So, if you could have a career like his in his 40s, I think that's what I would say is doable, but aspirational. And maybe not a name you'd probably think that would come to mind first and foremost. There's a lot of, if you choose to kind of go all in, there's other things in your life that suffer, right? So it just depends on the balance of that. But, in other sports, obviously, yeah, I mean, Djokovic clearly is sort of the one pushing greatness for in a sport where you do wear out pretty quick.
What about Scotty not missing a major in almost 25 years?
Yeah, listen, I mean, Adam's a huge benchmark for me, and I think I am for him. We're both within a couple of weeks of each other in terms of age. If you look at our careers, they're remarkably similar in terms of top tens, cuts made. He's got a couple more wins, but majors, this, that, the other, FedEx Cup, like world number one. Very kind of quite interestingly comparable, and, good friends as well. But there's things that he does really well that I'm like, I need to push myself to still be competitive that way. And I'm sure he looks at my game and thinks there's things that he needs to do to sort of compete with me. So yeah, he's Sergio as well. We're sort of all like around 1980. I think Sergio still plays good golf. Obviously not seeing as much of him anymore to really kind of go up head to head. But yeah, I think we're the three players that have kind of kept the form. In terms of just being out on tour and competing and popping our names up on the leaderboard once in a while, we're probably the guys doing well at that.
In what ways are you maybe better now than you were in your age 20s?
I mean, it's just a good question. I'd say generally I've putted the ball better in the last 5 or 6 years than I did throughout my 20s and 30s. I was an elite ball striker, I think, for a long, long, long time. And if I'd have putted it as I did now back then, I'd have probably done a lot of damage. But that's been an element of my game I've had to figure out. And like anything, the ball striking hasn't quite been as good. But, it's nice to know that I have access to it all. It's just putting it all together on the right week.
Can I ask you your thoughts on Oakmont? You've played it, obviously, in the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
It's got such a great, hard reputation. Does it live up to it? Do you recall the first time you visited?
Yeah, I just remember sort of expecting, with the name Oakmont, is oak trees, and I was expecting more of a tree-lined golf course, and I was just like staggered by a sea of green grass. I was just like, whoa. It's tough for sure. I think from my point of view, I think I've got to approach it with, I've put a mini driver in the bag this week with the premise of, I think I need to hit it in play at the US Open. I think there's still the guys who hit it far enough can still be very aggressive off the tee. That doesn't really suit me. I don't hit it quite far enough to justify being in the rough. So yeah, I think from the way I'm going to try and play the golf course, it's definitely, you've got to be somewhat long off the tee, 280 to 320. You've got to hit it in that zip code, but you've got to put it in play. So yeah, that's my recollections of it. You can't play that golf course from the rough as you can't play this week from the rough.
All right. When you hear from people about the Masters, does that make it, does it soften the blow of not having won, or does it fuel you to go, oh, that was nice that they're congratulating me for that? Or...
Yeah, I think selfishly they enjoyed it because someone kind of was there to step up and have a good round and make it interesting. So I think from a watching point of view, which I haven't had a chance to watch it back, apparently it was a good watch. So I think people were just grateful that, it was exciting in the end. I think that's what people kind of enjoyed. So from my point of view, I think I'll look back at it always with where there were a couple of opportunities, but Rory gave me huge opportunity as well. Like, there's no way I should be in a playoff, when he's in the middle of fairway on 18. So, I stepped up and hit every bit as good a golf shots as I could hit in the moment. I felt like I learned a lot from 2017 when I was in a similar situation. So, yeah, from that point of view, I can walk away from it a lot easier than if I had have done something in the moment where I knew I'd let myself down. Yeah.
Thanks, Justin.
Thanks, Justin.
Cool.
Good plan.